So today I'm going to be remote viewing HAARP. So it'll be a live remote view style video, once again, like my Malaysia video. So before we get right into the remote view, just a couple things. One, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, as I do not obviously qualify for hype. So that will be my little hype. If all my subscribers can go ahead and do that, that'll help the channel a lot. And then, yeah, so obviously I have this remote view, and then next Monday, I'll be releasing another special edition remote viewing video, and then we got a predictions video coming up in June, and then an energy update around the solstice. So lots coming your way over the next month, and I am planning on starting group offerings the middle of July, so stay tuned for announcements on sort of what those offerings are going to be as we get closer. And then one-on-one sessions, so I will be resuming those the middle of July. So I will not be doing one-on-one sessions the middle of June to about the middle of July. All my remaining sessions available have pretty much been taken, so those who are still looking to have a session with me and were not able to schedule those limited left that were available will need to wait until about mid-July, and then stay tuned for when I release information on when I extend my schedule for new bookings again. So with that, I'm going to be remote viewing HAARP today. So I remote viewed HAARP last year, exactly a year ago, and I am going back to the facility today because I need to get information on sort of like what is going on as of 2026. Have the white hats, done anything? Are they, slowing down operations? So I need to go and get all this information. I'm going to collect data on sort of this, so in my 2026 remote viewing predictions video, I talked about that there was going to be a very strong record-breaking El Nino. But with all this fear stuff going on with that, I'm going to remote view over to HAARP and try and cloak for information on what's going on with this El Nino. Because when I first scanned for that about 6 months ago now, I did see a record-breaking El Nino developing, and this is all my predictions video that was done in December, but I did not necessarily see HAARP manipulating it, so I don't know why there's this big fear push with this El Nino, like it's being made into some cataclysmic event. So that is something I'm going to try and cloak for information on when I go to the facility, remote view, and just see everything that I'm able to gain access to. So I'm obviously going to scan for that. I'm going to scan for, okay, are they planning hurricanes for this year? Yeah, let me, I'm going to go and just scan out all that. So I've been to this facility before, so it's a little easier for me to remote view into it. The last time I went to HAARP was Saturday, August 16th. The day that they did the rapid intensification with Hurricane Aaron. So I remote viewed over to the facility that day to cloak for information on why they were rapidly intensifying Aaron. And anyway, it was just they were testing these updates to their rapid intensification system. So last year they were doing a lot of those rapid intensifications, but not any of them hit the United States, which thanks to timeline shifts, thanks to energetic protection, white light around the East Coast and all that, which really did help, but they still had those devices. So I need to cloak for the rapid intensification devices, what's going on there. I'll try to get access to information about the chemtrails, which chemtrails are a little iffy because HAARP, yes, they have say in the chemtrail stuff, but a lot of it is also just more like military, you know what I mean? So it is connected to HAARP, and it's not at the same time. So it's a little separate, but when we get into fires, earthquakes, sometimes these weird atmospheric things that do occur, that's when we can cross the territory into HAARP. So I'm going to get into all that today. So, and just before I get into the remote view, so HAARP is located, I'm not going to give like the exact coordinates on here, but just a general location. It is like east of the Rocky, like, so anyway, the location in Alaska, yes, ties to HAARP, not where all the stuff really goes down. So I call it like a pawn. Like, it's like they give the location of where HAARP is, but then it's like, okay, yeah, some stuff goes on there, but really the real stuff is elsewhere. So this is like the global headquarters. Obviously it is global, but there's a North American headquarters. And that is so like it's like southeast of the Rocky, it's like of the Rocky Mountains. It's like the exact location, like I said, I'm not going to give the coordinates, but it is like southern Colorado, New Mexico area. So anyway, in this closed off facility, you got the real HAARP headquarters. You have a military base where they're doing some like weird experiments with extraterrestrials. I already went there, like talked about that a year ago now. And then we have, yeah, I know, a cloning facility. They have a cloning facility there too. So I'm not going to go to the cloning facility today, but I'm like, when I first found out this area, I was just laughing when I was like, okay, there's literally a cloning facility here. So like, you know what I mean? It's just, yeah. So we're getting into it today. So once again, I'm going to be doing a remote view of HAARP. So I'm just going to start with a quick white light bubble on myself, meditation, and then I'll get back to you guys and share when I'm going to start the process when I actually will be remote viewing over to HAARP. So just give me a minute. I'm going to do a little meditation and I'll get back to you guys when I start the remote viewing process. Okay, so I just did like a white shield around myself, energetic protection, and okay, so I'm gonna just remote view over to HAARP. So just give me a few minutes and I'll let you guys know with what comes forward originally. So, or what I find first, and we'll go from there. Okay, very interesting off the bat. So when I got to the facility, like the one thing that stood out to me first was, holy shit, what a difference a year can make. And like there was just this sense of like panic. Like they are losing their shit. Like they were not like this last year. Like last year they were like, you know, ready to send 8 hurricanes to the east. Like they were laying out their final agenda. But they were a little scared once again after Milton. They were like, oh God, we lost the narrative. Like we're fucked. Like that was basically like them after Milton, because everybody woke up to HAARP after that storm. So anyway, when I'm there, I'm just like kind of going through the facility, and like it wasn't like it still hunkered down in a sense, but more like they were all scrambling. Like I don't even know how like else to say it. Like yeah, I just like immediately, the first sensation that I got when I was there was they were panicking. So I now I need to go back and see why. Like why are they panicking? And I'm getting excited because I hope they're panicking because something good is happening. But like for us, but like when I say like they are scrambling. Like yeah. So okay, I'm just gonna go right back. I'm not gonna try and like think too much because I want to go right back and then scan for what really is going on. Okay. Okay, so it's it seems that the white hats. So a year ago, I was like, I got the impression then, or the information, that the white hats were basically just gonna like go in and take over the the whole facility at once. But it seems like this has been going on in phases. So that's what just got flagged out to me. So it's like, it's not that the white hats do not have full control as of May of 2026. So I just want to state that it is still a back and forth battle, but it's like they have control over the facility, but the white hats, it's almost like they have some sort of leverage behind the scenes, which I really want to try and see what that exactly is. But the shadow government / HAARP at the facility, like they still have leverage. Like they still have these technologies. They still have their like, you know, reptilian presence there that is still active. Okay, I'm trying to like see how I should go about collecting more of the information on like what the white hats might have, because I don't know if I like go to them, because they have like a North American base kind of too. So I'm debating. I'm going to continue with the remote view, and then if I'm getting like a certain pull to actually needing to go to the White Hats to finish off this remote view, I will. But let me cloak for information on like what. Okay, so it's not all at once. This is in phases. I want to see what progress has been made, meaning what, I guess, agreements have been made. Obviously, this is like a slower turnover than expected, but like what has stopped that, I guess, shows that we are actually on this timeline of this agenda fully shutting down. So let me cloak and see kind of like what progress has been made with HAARP versus last year and all their agendas versus HAARP in this year. So let me tap back in and see what comes forward. Interesting. Okay, so basically later in 2025, it seems like the White Hats kind of like sent out a signal or like a message to all these shadow organizations, and that includes HAARP. So HAARP was involved in this message, and it's almost like HAARP basically got the message like, okay, if you do not cease to shut down, like, then you will be exposed type thing. But on the other hand, it's more like, because HAARP is such a deep agenda and it's global, it's not just at this North American base, it's almost like it's a slower process. And for example, like a corporation getting exposed or, you know, something else coming out, like this is like much deeper because we get into the manipulation of the frequency grids. We get into 5G, we get into, it's just so deep, but it's like more like they were given obviously this message from the White Hats, like, which I did pick up on a year ago, that they were gonna eventually move in or send out some sort of signal. So they got the signal, and it's almost like, if you do not if you do not basically cease your agendas, like, we are going to expose you in the sense. So it seems that HAARP in particular, they have not, what's the word? It's like in 2026, yes, they have still been active, but it's not like they have done anything that is like it's not like they have, you know, orchestrated this like hurricane like event, like some of these storms in the past. It's not like they have like done anything to like almost violate what kind of was said to them about like, okay, you guys need to see. So it's almost like they're walking a fine line of what they can and like cannot do, if that makes sense. It's a little confusing. So it's more like they're doing stuff that they still technically can do, but they're not fully like shutting down yet, but it's not like what it was. So they were given some sort of signal. I need to go back in and get more information and then tap into sort of, okay, then what do they have planned? Like, do they have another hurricane plan? Do they have, what's this El Nino thing? Like I just want to kind of get information on like what we should be expecting, especially as this shift happens. But the white hat kind of takeover is not what I actually fully thought and anticipated it was going to be. I thought it was going to be an all at once, like we are taking over the facility. And it's more like it's starting off with signals, and if they violate the agreements, then it will turn into a release of information, and that will eventually get that power to shift. So it is a slower process than what I anticipated from a year ago. So it's like we're not in the clear, but also the white hats, like their assistants behind the scenes, have prevented more, I guess, shall I say, like, of these staged weather events in 2026. Yes, obviously there was these weird snowstorms. Yes, all that. But on the other hand, like, I'm saying, like, cataclysmic events that have not yet been implemented by HAARP in 2026. So it's interesting. So there has been some sort of like, they have not gone all out as they have in previous years, even just last year, due to the signal that they were given at the end of the year. So let me tap back in and just kind of scope more of the facility, see sort of what exactly are they doing, like what beings are still kind of present there. Are they like just what exactly is going on at this headquarter base? And then I'm going to just scope underground, and then I'll come back, share what I find, and then go into more information on sort of these other things that are still going on. So just give me a minute. Okay, so there were still some like gray and reptilian beings still kind of in this closed off like special access area, helping out with like military personnel. So that's still kind of happening. And then don't forget too, it's in the same area as that base where they're doing experimentations, and then there's also that cloning facility, which I just don't understand still why the three of them are together. But anyway, so underground, so there used to be some darker stuff going on underground in that area, and then even last year I saw, okay, they were still doing some experiments, cleared, like cleared out. Like, I'm not seeing like I don't know why, but underground, like, they are something. It could have been that white hat signal. Like, when I say cleared, I mean like you can like no evidence left. So I guess that's good in the sense of something is happening. So around the headquarters, like something. So this is good. This is really, really good. I'm actually kind of like excited, because at first I was like a little upset, I guess. I mean, not upset, but like, yeah, a little bit like, oh, I thought I was going to go there and then see that the whole facility has been taken over by the white hats, which honestly, like, would have been the best case scenario. Has not happened, but there is a very slow turnover. That being said, there's still they could still do agendas. So it's a fine line, but just seeing kind of underground how it has been cleared, I think we have more good news. Like, I think this so far is like better news than obviously it was a year ago. I'm going to go back, remote view more into the facility, kind of see if they have any plans and agendas lined up. I'm also, before I do that, I want to go scan for the connection that they still have to the 5G. And then I'm also going to scan to see their involvement with this El Nino. And then I'm also going to scan to see what's going on if these rapid intensification hurricane devices are still installed around the ocean, around obviously the Gulf, the Gulf of Mexico, and then the Atlantic, or the Gulf. I don't even know the name of it. I just call it the Gulf of Mexico because I don't even know, like, they changed it, but I don't really care. And then the Caribbean. So I'm gonna scan like the waters just to see if there's still kind of connections to these devices, and then I'm gonna scan to see any involvement with the El Nino. So just a little bit of kind of like, okay, I'm gonna see any ties between HAARP and kind of if any of the like what's really going on, like what's going on with these devices that are that I found a few years ago that are linked to the hurricanes in the water. So just give me a few minutes to energetically like just remote view and scope out all these different technologies and what HAARP still has control over, and I'll get back to you guys. Okay. So they still have control over all the 5G towers, so they are able to rev up those frequencies, especially if they are pulling off a weather event. So that's something to note that they still have control over. They also have control over all the rapid intensification devices that they installed back in the ocean. So the rapid intensification devices were rolled out when they rolled out the 5G. So I believe the first hurricane that I saw they used these rapid intensification systems for was the first one that they really pulled off with the devices linked to the 5G was Hurricane Michael, which was back in 2018. So they put those devices in the Gulf of Mexico, and then that in combination with the rollout of the 5G towers was able to basically explode that storm into a Category 5 hurricane to like destroy that area. So Michael was rapid intensification. I believe actually that Hurricane Irma storm was, that Hurricane Maria was rapid intensification. The Ian one. So they've done, like, this is not anything new. The ones around the Gulf region, all like in the last, since 2017, they have utilized these oceanic devices. They have them all around the Gulf of Mexico. They have them off the coast of Florida in the Caribbean. Unfortunately, HAARP still controls all those systems. So, and when those devices do go off, basically, so a lot of these like hurricane-like storms do come off as thunderstorms, and then obviously they take time to develop, but these devices are in I guess, prime development location. So when it's in this development zone, it will develop, but then these devices that are in the water will actually basically just explode them into category 5s. I mean, that's common sense. We don't get, why aren't there category 3s anymore? Why aren't there category 4s anymore? Because these devices literally help them get to 5 and hold that strength. So, anyway, oh, and it also kills a lot of sea life. Like when I was remote viewing the devices when they were going off during Hurricane Aaron, like I just remember like remote viewing under the water and just seeing kind of like, it's almost like a nuclear bomb going off. Like you just see like death of whales, death of dolphins, death of like sharks. Like it's almost like they just like explode in the water when these devices go off to rapid intensify the storm. So very upsetting, very sad. It does do a lot of harm, but obviously this is a tactic they have. So, but anyway, they still, like these devices are still active, and the waters even now are very warm, it seems. So they're keeping the temperatures high up. That being said, I want to scan to see what's going on with this El Nino, because I wonder if, well, sometimes during El Ninos, there aren't a lot of hurricanes that do develop in the Atlantic. So I don't know. Like I want to now remote view what is going on with this El Nino. Does HAARP have a say? Are they gonna, okay, you know what? Maybe in 2026 they don't have any hurricanes lined up, but do they have other agendas at play that is a part of this El Nino? So let me go back in, see what comes forward. I'm going to scan kind of like if they have hurricanes lined up this year or if it's going to play out differently. Let me just go back and sort of see what's really going on currently. Okay, so yes, they are actively manipulating this El Nino situation, which is actually interesting because later in 2025, I did not see that they were going to manipulate it, but it seems like they're being kind of ordered almost in a sense, HAARP to so it's not even as much HAARP as it is they have these oceanic like heating devices even in the Pacific region, and they are intentionally going to make that water area very warmer than average to create an extreme El Nino, which is going to cause, it's almost like they're going to fuck shit up. So it seems like the agenda of 2026, less hurricanes, more they're going to fuck shit up with this El Nino, and it's going to just mess up the whole weather pattern globally, which is something I did pick up on in my 2026 remote viewing video. But it seems like, why are they going all out and just they want to make a historic El Nino? I'm going to tap back in. I need to get more information. And then, so yes, HAARP is actively, but it's like, why are they allowed to do this? I don't know. It's like a very fine line what's going on right now. And it's honestly just like annoying because I'm like, okay, but you were given a signal by the White Hats to not do like but maybe, you know, because it's not actively like, okay, they're making this major hurricane and sending it here, or they're doing a fire, earthquake, like they're almost, it might be in this like slow turnover that they could still use some of these systems. So anyway, they are actively working to get this El Nino into a record-breaking El Nino to almost, it's gonna cause, this El Nino is not looking good, okay? And like, I'm not saying this in a fear-based way, because I know that they are trying to make it very fear-based, and I see that, but like, this is a coordinated agenda, this El Nino, and I just want to let all you guys know they are intentionally increasing, like they're gonna get this, like it's almost like they want the water temperatures like 3 to 5 degrees like Celsius above normal. And that's like extreme for like an El Nino. So, okay, so it's almost like HAARP's agenda for 2026 is like, it's almost less, okay, we're going to like manufacture hurricanes, and then more, I mean, it also does, but the warmer water temperatures there kind of suppresses hurricane activity in the Atlantic. So it's more like, we're not putting our attention towards the Atlantic this year. We are going to screw up the global weather pattern and just put all of our attention on this Pacific basin, where we can basically heat up this water and then literally mess up the whole global weather pattern. And that's their focus. So I'm not still, like, I scanned, do they have hurricanes lined up this year? Like, if they have a hurricane lined up this year, it's looking more last minute, because normally they do plan them in advance. I'm seeing like all their eyes are on this El Nino. They're really trying to fuck shit up intentionally with this El Nino, and make, like, it's going to get very hot water temperatures, and that does screw up the whole global weather pattern. So, okay, so it is more HAARP-based, and once again, these devices have been getting rolled out for an event like this too. So interesting. Okay, let me remote view back and just see sort of, okay, so if they, like, what are they planning anything else? Like, I just want to get, so yes, direct connections to the El Nino. This is a HAARP ongoing agenda. And then I want to see, okay, what else are they doing, like atmospheric wise? And then do they have anything else planned that they're going to try to do, even if it's not a hurricane in 2026? Oh my God. Like, why are they... I could have sworn in another video I said sometimes during the El Nino years, if they have trouble making these hurricanes, which, like, obviously the waters are very warm, so I'm sure there still could be but it's like almost like, okay, they can't, like, it's going to be less opportunity for hurricanes in the Atlantic. So I'm seeing little hurricane activity this year in particular. So 2026, just for hurricanes, Atlantic wise, I'm not seeing any major hurricane agenda in specific, but I am seeing a focus on manufactured fires. So it seems also because of this raising heat and the temperatures getting hot, I am seeing like prime direct energy, prime, even if man-made starting fires, like there's gonna be a lot of fires, and I particularly saw that summer already being kind of lined up for August and September in California, Arizona, Nevada, and then I saw like even up towards Washington and Oregon. So the West Coast fires, just a warning. I mean, we need to shift out of this timeline because they have fires planned this year. Yeah, they have fires lined up. Okay. And I'm not trying to say this out of fear. Like, I will lead us in a meditation to get us out of that timeline. Like, we got out of the hurricane timeline, but they're going to do fire. So, but I'm not necessarily seeing. So I'm seeing like, okay, El Nino, very warm. Like so it's going to screw up the whole global weather pattern. I want to tap back and see like, okay, what's the deeper elite agenda behind that? And then upping the fires, upping the heat. Yeah, it could screw up a lot for sure with these fires. And then also still kind of seeing like, yes, they still have these hurricane devices in the Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico, but 2026, I do not know why, they are focusing their attention away. So I do not anticipate like the next extreme hurricane that will be probably like occur and impact the United States in a way, natural or unnatural, will most likely be in 2027. Their agenda is more like focusing on this El Nino event and then possibly even these fires in the US. And even Canada I saw too. So Canada possibly. But yeah, once again, it's like they are not focused on hurricanes. It's almost like after Milton, it's almost like they wanted to take 3 years off. They're like, okay, fuck it. Like we tested our systems in 2025. They're still good to go. 2026, we'll probably push it another year for the hurricanes. We'll focus on fires in this El Nino. It seems like 2027, they will pick back up the hurricanes. But like, this is going so much slower than I anticipated because I originally was feeling that this is all going to come to light and be exposed this year, but it's almost like, why is it so slow? And that makes me really want to directly ask the White Hats. Like, I don't understand the process. So maybe I'll go to them at the end quickly. But first, before I go there, I just want to tap into the deeper agenda behind the global El Nino event. So 1 second. So it's like they're trying to almost just like screw up the supply chain. So that's what came forward. It's like a supply chain agenda. So it's like, okay, this El Nino is really going to screw up either the growing season or, it's going to just destabilize certain, like, it's more like, it seems like very connected to like this theme of like, I don't know why, but it's like this, like, it seems connected to some sort of like this like inflation or something like that. Like it's almost like it's gonna like keep up the inflation and rise the costs. Like it's almost like things are gonna cost more, so that could be like, yeah, it's like it's more like the elites behind this El Nino. It's more like they're trying to jump up revenues. It's like, I don't know exactly why, like what direct impacts that why, like, but for some reason, like, they're gonna make a shit ton of money off this El Nino, this record-breaking El Nino event, and it's almost like yeah, it is. It goes hand in hand with 2026 when we think of these wars and all that. It's like they're gonna be making money off of this. Okay, interesting. And obviously, yeah, I mean, it's just, it's so, we live in such a simulation. Okay, so before I kind of go over to the White Hats and just like ask them briefly, like, why aren't you doing anything? Like, I don't know. I'm gonna just tap in to see sort of like what the future timeline is, and sort of what's going on with these chemtrails because they're still doing them. So let me just kind of get the timeline of kind of when we're going to be freed from all this and the shutting down the chemtrails, because I did see the second half of 2026, but that was a year ago. And yes, there's been some movement, but I'm not anticipating this all to end in 2026, like how I was like interpreting the information then. So let me just go back in and just see what comes forward. Interesting. Okay, so interestingly enough, the second half of 2026, that timeline did get flagged out to me on like slow improvements. So once again, improvement not all at once, like it's magically over. Something about we are going to start to like see some sort of shift, whether that's even just with the chemtrails or less of these manufactured events. Yes, their agenda for this year is fires and this El Nino. And then next year I did see that's when like a lot of hurricane, like I see 2026, there could be some sort of hurricane like activity, but it seems like the real like next round of these storms, whether it's HAARP related or not, will not occur until 2027 just because of all the focus on this El Nino event. And for some reason they do have some sort of fire activity lined up. So, but that being said, we're going to start to see some improvement, and I don't even know like how else to elaborate that, just some sort of improvement. But from what I'm seeing, it's going to be more on the chemtrails. And it's like almost just us. It's almost like the solution to the chemtrails. I'm going to go and ask the White Hats right after this because I want to know myself. And then, so yes, the second half of this year, we're going to see some sort of improvement. We are not going to be almost fully out of this sort of weather manipulation. Like, we are nearing the end, but it will take probably through about 2028. And that is it'll all probably be brought to light after that sort of either solar flash event or this big new Earth-like event that will be coming around. Well, I need to get an updated timeline and do videos on the solar flash, but that's a 2028 like event that I've been picking up on. So slow progress until the real big event's going to happen. That's going to just crash all these other systems. But I think overall, once again, like something about this El Nino event and fires, less they have hurricanes planned. And this is all I'm just picking up on, just practically scoping out kind of like their agendas, kind of saw what going on at the facility. Okay, yes. now I'm gonna like cut cords with HAARP and kind of like just remote view over to the white hats and ask like this lead being there, like who I typically just ask questions to about the was I gonna ask? Oh yes, about why it's a slower process than basically what I was originally kind of told a year ago. Okay, 1 second. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so he basically was just like letting me know that they did have the intention of taking over the full like really, so like the original way that I explained it, like yes, they were going to just take over the full um I mean obviously like a little bit at a time, but they wanted like this was the year they were going to take over the full like HAARP shut down all their operations, but they've been struggling. Like the white hats, like it's like the shadow government has gone full, like they are trying to take out all these like almost white hat involved movements to either expose a lot of these organizations or shut stuff down. So like it's not that they are unable to, it's that they are just being a little more cautious and it's going to take them a little more time. So that's why they were given this referendum the end of 2025 being like, watch out, because like we are gonna basically, we will get this information out there. So slower process, guys, slower process, obviously with the chemtrails, like and then I need to go back and ask them about how we can consciously stop the chemtrails. I was gonna do that and then I didn't. Okay, let me just go back and then I'll elaborate on the rest then. Makes total sense. Makes total sense. So he basically was just like, the more you guys as the collective consciousness, like, it's almost like if you see a chemtrail, just say like, you're not consenting, you're not consenting, you're not consenting. And like, he says you guys have actually been making a shift in 2026 with like, it's like we are shifting out of the chemtrail timeline just by doing that. And I actually have noticed, because this year in particular, when I see a chemtrail, I just say I don't consent, I don't consent. And I feel like I've also been seeing less. So he basically just like picked that up and we are doing what we are doing on the back end. So, okay. So I'd say this wasn't all negative. I'd say that there's still some stuff that obviously is going on, especially with this El Nino, a push towards possible fires. But like I said, this hurricane piece, the devices are still there. Not seeing any like major hurricane activity this year in particularly. That will probably be picked up next year, but definitely, as always, like if something does happen last minute, just like there is a hurricane this year, just know that they do have these devices still put along the East Coast, the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico. So those who are on the East Coast in those areas, just be ready in case, because they do have these devices. So I'm worried, obviously, as well, that, like I said, I'm not seeing huge hurricane activity in the Atlantic Basin this year, only because the El Nino is actually like, it kind of backfires on a lot of these storms even organizing, because the devices are only made for like, once that storm is organized, we are going to like skyrocket it into a 5. So that's why it's a little bit like, okay, the devices are there. Even if there's that one opportunity for one of these hurricanes this year, like, just be, if those who are on the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico area, just please be cautious this year, because, like, once again, there might not be a lot, but they still have these technologies to rev it up. And then once again, I'm not seeing that full scope, like, real hurricane agenda kicking up again until 2027, which we could shift out of all these timelines like we did last year. But it's almost like this Hurricane Milton kind of really did scare them to do another hurricane. So for some reason, I think we're going to be good this year for the most part. But once again, it's like this El Nino and this fire piece is really like the concern from what I'm seeing, what HAARP's agenda is. And this is going to be August into September. So August and September, fires, this El Nino picking up. But don't forget, like, this El Nino's lasting into 2027. So, and it's going to shake up a lot of like the global weather patterns. So this is a HAARP agenda, and I did get confirmation of that today. So I just, obviously my intention with all this was to kind of bring you guys the information and prepare you for like whatever is going to come. And I think overall, just having the conscious awareness of what this organization is doing, what they could possibly, orchestrate and all that, is ultimately just going to free us in the long run, because we want to be consciously, aware, because we are actually then shifting the timeline just by being consciously aware. I mean, just look at what we did last year with all these hurricanes. I'm sure we are able to consciously, as a collective, shift the timeline out of what they want with this El Nino, which is kind of chaos. We can shift the timeline into like a timeline where like they're not going to get what they want, right? They're not going to get these fires this year on the West Coast. They're not going to get whatever weather event or whatever agenda they want. They're not going to get these chemtrails to keep ruining, the frequency on this planet and targeting the frequency, the 5G, whatever. So progress being made, very slow. But overall, I just wanted to do this remote view and kind of share this 2026 update. And I will obviously share more if anything comes to light sooner. But yeah, with that, that's all I have for today. And make sure to have notifications on so you guys are get alerted when my next few videos drop.